don't get us into legal trouble.
No, I won't get into legal trouble.
Okay, great.
I was literally there earning about 500 quid a month in my parents' back room in my pants.
Oh, I was just about to say, let us know if you liked it deeper this week. We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Business Anchors podcast. We go straight into radio DJ voice. Today we're talking about success. What is success? Do you know what success is, Dan?
No, I'm hoping we're going to find out today.
No, we certainly don't know. We're talking about success, our very different opinions of what success is, the culture of hacking success, why you should never trust people that look successful online, and ultimately we find out if international keynote speaker, oh my God, can I have your autograph? Dan Knowlton thinks he is successful.
Shut up. I love it that I don't know what you're going to say.
Yeah, so that's straight into radio DJ voice because that went down well last time. I've been locked out of Dan's phone already. That I was gonna. So in case you're wondering, guys, how successful this podcast is, bloody funny but wise too. Excellent, loved it, brilliant, informative and fun, super authentic business podcast. Just lots of things like that. We've got
lots of things we asked our friends and family to write on the reviews.
I think there are a small number that aren't our friends or family.
I think didn't you review it twice yourself?
Dan, I didn't review it twice myself. I gave it a rating, and then my wife reviewed it, but I typed it for her. That's a good way to start the podcast. We're talking about all this kind of stuff, aren't we? But so 34th best marketing podcast in Denmark,
number 1 in Ireland.
If we're talking success.
That's it.
Now, how's that for success?
That's not bad, is it?
Yeah,
Why in Ireland, though? I mean, I know a few people in Ireland, but...
I sent the link to one of my friends in Ireland.
That must be why we've been number 1. Yeah.
He obviously absolutely loved it. Thank you, Dan Martin. He absolutely loved it and just shouted from the rooftops, so he spread the word. So, yeah. But thank you, everyone, for the lovely comments and feedback on the first episode. If you haven't watched it already, or listen to it. Go and do that. But yeah, it's been really.
I thought it was pretty good for a launch. It did all right, didn't it?
I think so.
Obviously, we're off the charts now because we haven't got our friends and family to review loads recently. So.
Yeah, I mean now we're not successful at all because we chose to do this every 2 weeks. We were really successful for about 3 days, and then gradually started to go down the charts.
Do you know what I'm gutted about?
What?
We didn't. I found out after someone messaged me. If you upload 3 podcast episodes at once, it kind of cheats the algorithm, and you get triple the downloads, and then you go way further up the charts. So we completely failed that.
So we could have been really successful if we just played the system.
Yeah.
And hacked because you can. So you basically just, because I only found this out afterwards.
And then I realised other people I know who've launched podcasts have done it, and now think, oh, that's why you did that.
Yeah, that's why you a number 1 podcast in Nigeria and Scotland and because you upload like 5 in one go, and then because you've done that, obviously people the algorithms listen to
no, because people download more than one, then you think, from one person you could get 5 downloads potentially.
Yeah.
So we completely balls that up.
But in reality talking about success.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. Is it really successful? Why would you do that to gain the system? Because in the end, the podcast is still going to be as good as if you didn't try and hack the system, surely?
I think it makes you feel good if you're up there with the charts. You can tell all your mates, he was number 1 in Nigeria. But I think we're going to focus on actually trying to make this good, aren't we? And that probably won't have as much impact as doing all these crazy hacks on the algorithm, the podcasting algorithm. But if we because I'm sure listen time must have a big impact on the algorithm, because surely loads of people could just get random people to download it once and listen for 3 seconds. But if you actually continue to listen, that's... Yeah.
Well, that's what we're hoping. Obviously, we're trying to make this podcast good. Let us know in your reviews and comments if you don't think it's good, and we'll try and do better next time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're hoping that the fact that people loved the last one and are hopefully going to continue to love this podcast, that it'll actually do well without us having to trick any systems or people.
Yeah. And do you know what I absolutely love that's happened since the last podcast?
What?
We've had similar embarrassing stories flooding in, or I have in my messages that you don't know about yet. Can I just tell you a quick couple?
Yeah. Go
okay, so should I reveal people's names? Sod it. Ross, I won't reveal his last name, but Ross said that he had a similar thing happen when he was delivering training and porn was on his laptop. So
Yeah, I've seen a couple of comments actually. So
As if
suddenly,
it's just yeah.
I love that we were honest with embarrassing stories, and then suddenly out of nowhere, when no one's ever said anything like it, it's like, yeah, that's happened to me. Yeah, that's happened to me.
Molly, hey Molly, if you're tuning in, she commented on LinkedIn. She tagged her mate from work and said something about Brazilian Adam or something, and then I sort of said, "What's that about?" She messaged me that someone stayed logged in on their Google account, and the search history was just a quote. I made sure I noted this down. The search history was Latina girl with big huge ass. So
and that's we're setting the bar for this podcast with the big huge ass. So I mean, we're saying, we don't want to do that and try and hack it to have a successful podcast. However, we literally said that in the podcast, we're going to give away £100 Amazon gift card to someone that reviews and rates the podcast. So are we not?
Oh no, we completely are. We're completely contradicting ourselves. And also, it's so stupid. If you want to start a podcast, the way to get in the charts is you basically we spent about a couple of hours direct messaging everyone we know and trust to say, hey, can you listen and give us a review? And yeah, we basically.
So where's the line then? Because at first I'm thinking, we're not doing that shady technique where you upload 5 episodes to try and appear successful and hack the algorithm. But then we looked at how we can try and give it the best shot it can, and thought, reviews and ratings on Apple really will make a big difference. So we asked people to do that. So are we being shady as well?
Yeah. I think it, as an initial boost to just get it out there, we wanted to do whatever we could to get the word out there and use these hacks and stuff. But now I think it's more we're gonna focus on it being good. And
okay, so we were just dicks for a bit.
Yeah.
But forgive us,
and
because
also,
we'll be good
Lloyd,
from now on.
And also, what we're doing that lots of other people don't, we're telling you this. And through the rest of this podcast, we're going to be talking about lots of hacks that loads of people in the business world, this whole smoke and mirrors of, I'm a best-selling author on Amazon, or, there's all this shite that people say.
And a lot of people don't know about that stuff.
So we're going to...
Yeah, because I suppose I'm thinking...
And also, we've done there's some stories I'm going to tell of stuff we've done, or I did it early on, where I was a right twat.
Oh, really? I'm looking forward to that. I always like it when Dan admits that he's a twat. So, okay, I'm interested to hear that. So, you mentioned about the Amazon bestseller thing. I think that's something, these kind of hacks to success are something that a lot of people don't know about. So, Dan, tell us more. What do you mean about that?
I just think there's a lot of things in the business world where you can do certain tactics to achieve certain results that some would consider, it's like black hat and white hat SEO, when
search engine optimization for our users, listeners who don't know what that is.
Black hat's like where you do dodgy tactics where and white hat's not where you don't do that. You can tell I'm an SEO expert.
Yeah.
For example, so the Amazon bestseller thing. So, there's a guy called Mike Winnett who's got this Entrepreneur series on YouTube. Everyone go and watch it. He basically...
Big fan, Mike Winnett.
Love you, Mike. Have us on your podcast. He was basically opens it all up and shares kind of all these people that are telling you how to be successful, buy my course, come to my event and spend loads of money, and how it's just, people are conning you. So it's well worth.
He talks a lot about. I mean, I don't want to get sued by anyone, but in my opinion, allegedly, Grant Cardone is someone that I personally,
just 10x,
in my opinion, allegedly wouldn't kind of trust to pay for his stuff.
Have you downloaded his audiobook? A few years ago, I actually started listening because I thought he was cool, and all he says is 10x everything.
10x everything. That's and I don't get it. So it's like, if you just 10x
10x
everything.
your podcast, Lloyd.
Do you want to make $1 million? 10x it. Okay, right. In that case, I'll make 10 million. It doesn't go. It doesn't go. Yeah. I want to launch a podcast. 10x. Yeah. Okay, 10 podcasts.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. There's nothing behind it. No. You can't just go, okay, I'll do 10 times as good because you've told me to. I'll eat 10 lasagnas for lunch. Thank you, Grant.
10 times bigger, Lloyd.
Yeah. Brilliant.
No, but going back to the Amazon bestseller thing, there's certain things, everyone wants in their sort of bio or headline, I'm an Amazon bestseller.
Yeah.
When really there's just a way to hack the system where you literally just get X amount of people and give them the money to order your book as soon as it comes out, and then that tells Amazon that book's a bestseller, and you jump up the bestseller charts for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Quickly take a screenshot. Like even the Mike Winnett. Yeah. Mike Winnett did a test. He created a blank book that just had a front cover and a back cover, nothing inside it. He put it on Amazon. He did these tricks of the trade, and he got up to being a bestseller on Amazon just to show how.
And I've heard the tactic of basically you find a I can't think of the word, which is terrible for a podcast.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah. So say we're marketing, we're a business podcast, and then we're a marketing podcast.
Yeah.
You find
a niche.
The niche that is the most obscure.
Or a niche for our American listeners.
Niche. So that there's only like 5 books that even exist in there. And then obviously if you sell any books, you'll be in the top 5.
So we could have, we could have been in like the 2 brothers based in Margate running a digital marketing agency podcast category, and we would have been
number 1
forever.
Yeah. So
damn.
I do think there's a lot when we're talking about success. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors, especially in business, and especially this kind of thing, like we're talking about selling books and podcasts and things like that. It's people make. You can market anything as a success in reality. Yeah,
even Gary Vee. Remember when he had his Ask Gary Vee book? Remember he was doing like deals for instead of paying me $100,000 to speak, buy 50,000 books.
Yeah.
So obviously that's going to skew the.
So it's basically he's still getting the same amount of money in his bank account, maybe slightly less to do that talk, but actually it's just going through Amazon to buy his books. So then he's also
Why are we shitting on that? What's wrong with doing that, Lloyd?
I'm not necessarily shitting on it.
Okay.
But actually, no, I am. Yeah. I personally, success to me, I know we're going to talk about this more later, what success is, but I don't really see the point of kind of faking it or trying to hack it, because I think long term, it doesn't get you anywhere. I think like, so say we're on episode 2 of this podcast. Mm-hmm. A realistic scenario, which I hope isn't going to happen, is we'll get 10 episodes in and it'll flop and we'll think, oh, that wasn't a success. What happens? I think in 10 years' time, we'll be in a better place, and maybe then we'll take 6 months off and launch a new podcast from what we learned, and it will actually be decent than just tricking the system into thinking it's the best podcast in the world, and then being like, oh, look at how successful I am.
I'm going to be devil's advocate here.
Okay. Well, just let you know you're wrong. So
if you don't agree that pretending to be successful is the way forward, why did you wear a suit everywhere when you first were in business and try and look successful?
Oh, he's gone in. Right. Okay. Good
Come on,
question.
give me a comeback. Be honest, Lloyd.
Yeah, I will be honest. I think I was trying to prove to everyone else and myself
that you knew what the fuck you're doing.
That I knew what I was doing and that I was successful.
Yeah.
I think that's the hard thing, and I think in our business as well, we're in marketing, so you are putting a good spin on everything you're doing and talking about. Yeah. And me wearing a suit was, well, I am me. I've done the work I've done. I've got the results I've got. There's no hiding from that. Yeah. There's no hiding that at this point in my fancy suit, not fancy, probably from Burton's in the sale.
I want some pants.
There's no hiding that. That I'm not the world's expert in this, but if I wear a suit, at least people might think, oh, he's smart, so maybe he's all right.
He's smart in his head as well.
Yeah.
I've got another question for you.
Okay. Did I pass that one? Was that okay?
Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah, okay. All right.
If you don't believe that now you're kind of like, oh, you shouldn't pretend to be successful, or you shouldn't act. If you're starting out in business and you're new and you haven't had many clients before, how on earth do you plan to get clients if they say, oh, what have you done? And you go, oh, I've nothing because I'm new.
So you're testing my theory of not like pretending to be successful and being honest.
Yeah.
Because right, so I'm at the start of the business.
Yes, this is good.
Yeah. I'm starting out. I've got no experience trying.
But if you were to do it now, I know before you were more naive and like I was, and didn't really know.
Yeah. I have to admit, like you do have to.
It's the whole. You go back on what you said now.
No, but you do have to talk about the best bits, don't you? like anything, if you're trying to convince another person to take an action, you have to talk about the good bits a lot and play down the bad bits to try and persuade them.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's an ethical way of doing that and a non-ethical way of doing that. So the way that I wouldn't like to be and that I wouldn't push forward is basically not just pushing the good bits and hiding some of the worst bits. Is actually lying. So say you've never
This
had
is what you wouldn't push forward.
this is what I wouldn't do.
Oh.
You've never had a client you've worked with. You've basically you're starting out in business. I think it would be bad when someone says, "So who are you working with?" For you to go, Dover Castle are a client of mine, and Botany Bay ice cream factory.
Worked with Kent County Council a few times back in the day.
So just making up stuff, I think that's bad. But what I do think is ethical and okay, and is still kind of putting that marketing spin on it and trying to push that you're more successful.
Don't say the word authentic.
I haven't said it yet. Mentioned it too many times in the last podcast. I think is like saying, "Oh, I haven't actually had a huge amount of experience in this, but what I've done is for my own brand, I've done this, and this, and it's got these results, and this is what I would do with this." And I don't want to just fluff it, talk fluff, but
no, I know what you mean.
You can put positive spins on it. You don't have to say,
twist.
"I worked with one company and it completely failed, and they said they didn't want to work with me, so and that I should completely quit this and try something else.
I'm a shit person, and I
cried for 2 days, and I can't afford deodorant." That's
like that film. What's that Honest film where he has to say the truth? Jim Carrey.
I don't know.
Yes, man.
Tell us in the comments below what they. But yeah, so I don't think you have to be 100% honest, because that's.
I do think there are some slimy things I've seen as well in the past. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if I should say his name really. Maybe I will because it's the podcast.
Well, don't get us into legal trouble.
No, I won't get us into legal trouble.
Okay, great.
No, right. So I'll tell you a story, and then I'll tell you who it was after. So you remember when there was that the world's most liked egg, or the world record egg, came out on Instagram? Do you remember this?
This is a very obscure. Yeah, I don't think many people will, but I remember. Yeah,
people listening. There was was it like a couple of years ago? Yeah. I think Kylie Jenner was the most liked person on Instagram, and then someone random just created an account which was an egg. And then it was like a funny thing like, "Oh, let's get this more liked than anyone." And it literally became, it got, I don't know how many millions, hundreds of millions of likes, more than Kylie Jenner. Yeah. And it was called the World Record Egg. Anyway, when this was all happening, there was a certain marketer in the industry that thought it would be, he basically changed his image to an egg and his name to the World Record Egg. And tried to kind of make people think that he was the egg, so that they liked his profile.
I mean, I'm cringing at the thought of changing myself to an egg online.
I mean, you already look like an egg.
To try. For the listeners that aren't viewing this on YouTube, I'm looking like an egg. Like cringing at the fact of turning myself into an egg for a week to try and hack the system of getting more followers online.
And that was Carlos Gilt.
Oh,
no offense, Carlos Gilt.
It could be the first business anchor of the week. No, we'll save that for Grant Cardone.
Oh yeah.
10x everything. Sorry, he's hacked my brain.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about lots of things: success, non-success, what we think it is. I think this kind of hacking. I think we're on the same line about this hacking success. That there are things you can do to hopefully try and persuade and convince people that what you're doing is successful, but the kind of these tricks that are trying to deceive people, maybe not the way to go.
I just remembered. I actually released an ebook when I first started, and it's really cringy. Can I tell you what it was?
Dan, please tell me what it was, because I'm sure it'll be brilliant.
It was. I think when I first used Twitter, I won a contract with the hotel.
Yep.
And it was like a contract over 6 months, and it added up to about £7,000 or something. Yeah. And I wrote an ebook that was how to make £7,000 on Twitter in 2 weeks or something like that. And I remember, if you're listening and you've actually downloaded that from about 5 years ago, please let me know, because that would be hilarious if you remember that.
Yeah. But so you didn't mention the months before that you were trying to win that contract?
No, all the other work. Yeah. This is because people make it seem too easy to be successful. I think this is another really important thing that, not that we're really successful or anything, but to get to where we've got to, it's way harder than all of these gurus out there make it look. You do these 10 things and you become successful, when really there's just so much that goes into it over years of building relationships.
If anything sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And this goes to the whole...
That's a great quote, Lloyd. Did you make that up?
Yeah. Lloyd Knowlton, 2020. Should we put that on the wall?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's like these 10x everything. And so Dan, 10x our income this month.
Okay.
So I'm hoping Dan's thinking, yeah, that sounds great, but obviously...
How the fuck do you do that?
Yeah, how do you do that? Rather than thinking, okay, great, if I just say 10x everything, it'll work.
Yeah.
And I think, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Have you seen the video, Mike, when it's a video of that Success Resources event in Birmingham where Grant Cardone was just standing on the stage telling everyone, shout 10x everything.
Yeah.
I'm a 10x guy.
10x.
Yeah, it was so cringe.
Yeah. And if you went to that event and since then your income is 10 times what it was
Please
before,
get in touch.
Please get in touch, because I would love to hear from you because you don't exist. So Dan, moving on.
Yep, go on.
Because we mentioned last week we're a bit quirky. We're just crazy here. We introduce a different drink for the podcast each week, and this time it's Dan's turn. So I'm really interested to hear what we've got.
So I want to share my reasoning behind this. I'm just handing Lloyd a pint can of Monster Ultra Energy, 0 calorie.
So I don't think there is a good reason why we need to have this, but
no, I thought
I'm willing to listen.
This is my chosen drink in our drinks fridge at work because it's good for energy. But the reason I thought I'd give it to you is because I know that I think you go a bit funny on caffeine, don't you? And you go faint and lightheaded and things. So I just wanted to put you to the test.
Great idea, Dan. Let's make me faint. So has it?
It actually tastes really good.
So for the listeners, Monster Energy Ultra, 0 calories, 0 sugar.
It's really
tasty. If it's an energy drink with no calories or sugar, that means there's some shit in it that's gonna
gets your heart racing. Cool. I want to see you sweat, Lloyd.
It tastes.
Thoughts? Do you like it or not? I love it. I think
it tastes very fake. I feel like this drink is gonna fake my energy. So it's going to make me feel really energetic. And then as soon as we stop recording, I'll pass out and need a defibrillator.
Cool. That's the plan. Well, there you go. Okay, enjoy.
Great. So while we're talking about other stuff, we would love you to rate and review this podcast if you're listening on Apple, because we want to hack the system and appear to be successful, even if we're not. But no, if you do genuinely enjoy the podcast, please do rate and review it, because it helps us. And some of the reviews, I don't know if you read them all.
There is some genuine ones. I hope that a lot of them are genuine. But
you say you're acting like we didn't fake all the reviews, did we?
No,
we just actually asked people listening to review.
No, but I hope what they've said is
it's really nice.
Yeah,
we've had over 50 5-star ratings.
Yeah.
And 1 4-star rating. If you're the 4-star,
who is that 4-star?
Just let it be known. You're the only one that's done that. So I think you should really need to think about what you've done. Think about...
No, Lloyd, we take on critical feedback.
Yes, yeah, we take it on, just not very well. So I really think you need to think about your actions. It is weird though, like I saw that 1 4-star review, which
Lloyd,
actually...
that's normal, for God's sake.
That's what I'm saying. Like, 4-star rating is actually a good rating, isn't it?
You got so annoyed
But I looked at that, and for about an hour I was thinking... Oh God, the podcast was shit. What did we do to deserve that?
Yeah.
But no, I am only joking. 4-star reviewer. Thank you very much. I appreciate your feedback. And any honest feedback would be great, as long as it's 5 stars. If you're on Spotify, please follow us. And can also tell your friends and family how to enjoy this podcast.
That'd be nice.
That's been nice so far, that I've heard a few stories of, I've told this person, they found it really funny too.
And I genuinely think as this goes on, there's more cool stuff we're doing, and we're going to have more funny stories to tell. I know I've mentioned it in the last podcast, but we're going to San Diego at the end of the month. And I reckon there's going to be loads of funny shenanigans that happen there.
I usually, after a couple of beers, get far too excited.
Buy loads of women drinks.
Usually do. No, I don't do that.
You did that
once. Did that once.
On the company card.
Anyway, moving on.
Sorry, Sarah, Lloyd's wife, if you're listening.
It was Sarah. Message for Sarah, my wife. It was this lady's birthday. She asked for a drink. I bought her one, and Dan never stops mentioning it. So,
I love him.
anyway, love you. Anyway, have a good day, darling. And hope you enjoy the rest of the podcast. And just let me know you've listened, and I'll cook you a nice dinner tonight. Okay. So moving on.
Yeah. How's your heart rate, by the way?
I've actually got it on my watch. So it started out at 60. It's gone up to 540 beats per minute. I actually keep sipping it.
Be careful, mate.
Those chemicals that make up the majority of the drink really do make you want more, don't they? So, Dan, this is the big question of this podcast about success. What is success?
What is success? That's such a good question. I think it's subjective, really. I think your success, whoever's listening now, is probably a lot different to what I'd deem as successful. But yeah, for me personally, success, I think it has a couple of pillars. I think it's like family, which I never used to be like this. Lloyd will tell you, I used to be a rubbish family member. I didn't give a shit about anyone.
No, not rubbish, just not as thoughtful as some people.
Yeah, there you go. So I think family definitely being a good. Now I'm a new dad. I've got is he 3 months old? Yep, 3-month-old son.
Yeah, he's such a good family member. He remembers the age of his son.
Yeah, and being a good fiance and being a good family member and stuff. And then I think the other area which I really think about a lot is being successful in business, which is a big thing for me. I really want to grow something that has a big impact on the world, which sounds sort of cliche, but yeah.
Cliche, cringy, all of those things, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other pillar for me is, which I think is less of a priority for me now as it is for you, but still a priority, is just doing good, helping others and doing good stuff for the world, which I've become more...
Bloody hell, he's a lovely person, isn't he?
It's definitely less of a priority at the moment. I think growing the business is a bit the main priority in my family.
Yeah.
But
don't worry about. Don't worry about those other people.
Lloyd doesn't mention it much, but on a Sunday night he goes and helps homeless people. He doesn't like to talk about it. He just uploads photos of himself doing it on Facebook.
I
love telling people that.
Dan always as Dan's mentioned it, I volunteer with the homeless each week. No, Dan always tells people that I upload pictures on
selfies
Instagram
of him handing
and Facebook
food to them.
of me doing it, right? And he knows that it annoys me because people believe that. I've never ever uploaded anything on social media.
Yeah. And then you take the food back off when the camera goes
away. I don't want to. So just to confirm, that is a lie.
Yeah.
I don't take pictures of Instagram.
So that was my sort of idea of success. What about you? What?
Well, hang on, I've got a question first.
Oh, go on then.
So you've told us your pillars of success, but so if I say what is success, your answer is family, business, and doing good. But what within your family? What within your, what is? Do you see what I mean?
Damn, that's a good question.
If the answer is what is success, family, business.
No,
what?
I think okay. So in terms of family, just getting feedback and ensuring that my fiance Christelle's happy with me as a person, as a human being. I'm doing the things that make her happy. So there's no like metric. The metric is her being like, you're a good dad and a good fiance. Is that a good answer or not, Lloyd?
Yeah. So the person one of the people that you love the most in the world, being happy and thinking that you're doing,
and also my other family trying to gauge that I'm not being a twat, basically, and that like you.
It must be hard, like because you are such a twat.
Yeah,
that must be quite hard.
Yeah.
Though.
No, I think I do a good job of not being a twat. And then I guess the business, I think it's a constant journey. We've got this 2030 plan that we're aiming towards for the business, but I still don't feel like that's the proper end plan. We don't even know what that is yet, do we, Lloyd? But we're setting these milestones along the way. So and it's such a cliche thing again, but it's the journey. It's the journey. It's not the end point. You heard that before. That is so sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no, it's the I think it's aiming for our 2030 plan, which is to build a business which is of a certain size and a certain number of team members in that delivering a certain volume of work.
So business wise, you're saying, so really it's a financial thing.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're kind of saying a thing that you're proud of, like building a business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what was the other thing? Helping the world. helping the world. I mean, doing good things.
Yeah, I help the world once in a while.
Doing good things. I think eventually I want to have more of a structured approach to actually knowing each month, each year, what am I doing to help other people, which I don't have at the minute. You definitely do to some degree because you're a much better person than me.
Well, I mean, obviously yes, but I would argue I think you're just thinking of what you've mentioned about me doing volunteering and stuff. In reality, you've never seen me at volunteer. I might just be going because it makes me feel good. I might be
seen the photos on Facebook.
But I think you can't judge it just on things like that. I might just do it because it makes me feel good and be rubbish and not be helping anyone there. Whereas you're secretly helping people with others. So I don't think
you don't know what I do behind closed doors.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. But no, Lloyd, tell me yours. What are your? I'm actually interested to hear this. I kind of think I could guess
what I think success is.
No, what? Yeah, what's your? And
so just to before I start, I don't really like giving my answer to this because I think it makes me sound like a hippie, like snowflake kind of.
You're all of the above.
Yeah. And I know that even my wife, who we've mentioned already, love you, Sarah. I think she thinks she's worried that in a few years I want to just live in like a mud hut with no furniture.
She actually said that the other week, didn't she?
And just
didn't she message you saying that or called you
just
saying
meditate and go around feeding people in need and stuff and not own anything.
Oh, what an idiot helping people.
Which is completely valid because I could see that happening. But yeah, I do worry that I sound like an idiot when I answer this question.
Go on, just say it.
So in my eyes, success is kind of making the biggest difference in happiness in the world. So, I can't even say it. So making the most people the most happy, basically, over your lifetime. So, however, there's lots of contradictions in things like this, and this is something that I struggle with as well. So I think in my head, like, oh yeah, that's what I should be doing. I should be doing the best things to make other people happy and make sure they're successful and helping them and that kind of thing. That's what a good person should do.
What about animals?
But then
you haven't mentioned animals. That is so out of order.
And making animals happy. Yeah. Making animals happy by not eating them. But then at the same time, obviously, we all do things, selfish things that are for our own happiness and enjoyment. Like, for example, you're saying about animals. When we buy animal products, obviously that makes the animal less happy, but we all still do it, or most of us still do that. So I do struggle in my own mind, and I go around and round in circles with this. And so that's my answer, but I cringe even saying it.
No, I think that's nice. You're a nice person.
I pretend to be a nice person.
Yeah. I also, something else which I want to talk about on this topic is the whole kind of perception of success as well.
Yeah.
And this whole, and again, this isn't just pointing the finger at anyone else. We've done stuff and do stuff where you want to, it's that whole marketing spin. You want everyone to perceive you to be as successful as possible. Like, on social media, you share your social media highlights reel, and you don't want to start uploading stuff saying, "Oh, did a really shit job for a client today," and because that will have a detrimental effect on where you should try and talk about the positive stuff. And something I think for us, especially early on, little story for you, Lloyd. I don't know if you've heard this one, but early on, really early on, people perceived us to be a lot more successful than we were when it was literally just me, like Emma Pants at home, because I'd been rated on a number of these lists of influencers and stuff, which again is a whole other kettle of fish.
Oh, so influential.
No, but anyway, so one day it was funny. One day, I think it was about a year into the business, not earning a lot of money, living with mum and dad, working in an office in their back room, get a call off of this really successful guy called Daniel Priestley. Do you know him?
Yeah.
He's written some great books.
Well,
Hi, Daniel.
I don't know him. I know who he is.
Hi, Daniel, if you're listening. You're probably not because you've got better things to do. But he's a really successful guy, and he's really done some cool stuff and written some great books and things. And he called me up out of the blue, and he was like, Daniel, it's Daniel Priestley here. And I sort of thought, what's going on? And he Do you remember me telling you this?
I think so.
He sort of said, right, so I've connected with you online. I see you running an agency and stuff, and we're looking to invest in this property thing. You know, a group of agencies investing, and he literally mentioned some figure like 10 million each and things, or a million each or something like that. And I was literally there earning about 500 quid a month in my parents' back room in my pants, and I sort of said, yeah, not really right for us. But it's interesting how I'd built this perception that we were,
and because you were doing good stuff, and people perceived you as being very successful, and you were doing good work for clients. But obviously, when you get onto those influential lists and things like that online, because of the good stuff that you're putting out there, people can get it quite wrong. And
then your friends, I remember when you started posting videos, you got loads of messages. People thought you were like a millionaire, didn't they? When you posted a few videos on YouTube that got 100 views.
People still have this perception. Basically, to be successful, all you need to do is buy a decent camera, talk on camera as if you know what you're doing, and then, according to my mates, everyone thinks you're a millionaire. Because we started putting videos out there that looked half decent, and then I'd see people that I went to school with. Oh, it's all right for some. You're doing all right, aren't you? And I was thinking, I'm
getting the bus to work.
I'm in my overdraft and I can't afford to run a car. I just made a couple of videos. What are you going on about? Yeah. I do think that is weird with people's perceptions of success. Certain things that people do, people think, oh, you must be really successful, financially successful and successful in general. And I remember I remember something happening, us getting on some kind of top list or winning an award or something. This is probably like 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I remember winning this award or doing so. I can't remember exactly what it was. And then in the morning, waking up and getting the bus to the office because I couldn't afford to run a car at the time. And I was thinking, the outside world, the perception of they probably think I'm very financially successful at the moment, but in reality,
remember we kept saying that we can't wait to do like create some kind of story thing of where we started.
Yeah, I do think it'd be an interesting story because it's that. Luckily, now we've managed to catch up with.
Now we're just millionaires.
Perceptions.
So.
Yeah. In case anyone's wondering, we are billionaires, incredibly successful. We've got the team of. Are you 300 all right over there working on all? Yeah. Okay. Good. But yeah, luckily the perception of success.
Don't knock the monster over.
For the listeners, I nearly knocked over the drink, which probably would have dissolved the table. The perception's caught up a bit, but it is strange how being that side of it. If we know that at times people perceived us as being much bigger and further along our business journey than we were, and more financially successful. Think about the people that we look at, and actually people that are in similar situations or were in similar situations.
Now I'm much more skeptical about anyone I meet, and especially our dad's kind of rubbed off on me for this because he's very much, when anything happens, he sort of thinks of don't get too worked up about that because it's probably not, So I'm always. Do you think you're quite skeptical if someone comes to you and they're perceived to be this sort of successful man or woman? Are you just sort of like, are you a nice person? Are you actually?
I now realise. In my mind, I think the most I'm doing for the listeners. I'm doing quotation marks. The most successful people. And by successful, I'm talking about traditional success in business. So, growing businesses, financially successful, making lots of money, that sort of thing. I think normally the most successful people don't talk about being successful, don't big themselves up as this big thing.
They're doing the hard work.
Whereas people that are really are going all out to try and prove that they're very successful, quite often it's the opposite. They're a bit like we spoke about me and Masood. They're trying to convince themselves and others that they are successful.
But being devil's advocate, we're trying to show the best light of some of the great brands we're working with and all the good stuff we do. So why are we doing that? Shouldn't we just sit down and not show anything?
Well, no, I think there's the line again. So I think it's that line of showing your best bits, because
Yeah.
that's how in life, that's how we all persuade other people to take actions. So I want to work with you because I do this good stuff. You're not going to say, I want to work with you because I do loads of shit stuff, but sometimes I do good stuff. So I think that's okay. We all talk about the good bits, and that's fine. But it's the line, if you cross the line of start deceiving people.
Yeah.
So for example, if someone said to us, oh, what's the work you've done with this client then, and it's a client we haven't worked with for 2 years, if we were to say, oh yeah, we're really close with them and we do this, I think that would be negative. If we're honest and say, yeah, we worked with them on one project,
2 years
delivering
ago,
some training 2 years
Yeah,
ago in Dubai, then I think that's fine. I think it's being honest, but that's what I think. It's the line. All of us in our personal lives and in business, we want to show off the best parts, because I think that's human nature.
It's like Tinder, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've never been on Tinder. Sarah, by the way, I definitely haven't been on Tinder.
But you put your best foot forward, don't you? Like anything, But yeah, it's knowing where that line is.
Yeah, because I suppose on these dating apps, you wouldn't say, my lower back aches at the end of each day. I'm quite grumpy in the mornings.
Yeah.
And I only look this good because I've got 14 layers of makeup on. Yeah. So we're talking a bit about business and financial kind of success there. Do you think, can you put a number on financial success? Do you think there's, like, if you were in your mind now, what would you have in the bank to think financially you are successful?
That's a really good one. I don't know, because success is so subjective. If I had £1 million in the bank, I guess that's quite a nice number to be like, yeah, I've got £1 million in the bank.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people say, like, success is being a millionaire. And I think it is subjective, and it depends on the context, because
success to you is just being out your overdraft, isn't it?
Yeah, success to me is not spending my money on ridiculous things.
Sorry, go on.
But no, to have £1 million in the bank, if you live a lifestyle where you don't need a lot of money, if you're currently in a situation where you earn minimum wage, having £1 million in the bank would mean your wages would be covered for over 50 years. Test my maths if you want to. But at the same time, if you're so that's someone that's earning a minimum wage. £1 million would be great. You know, I could retire now and I'd be fine. Whereas actually thinking, I've got £1 million in the bank, so that could give you £20,000 for 50 years. For a lot of people, £20,000 isn't what they want to be earning. They want to be earning much more than that. So in reality, having £1 million in the bank to a lot of people isn't like, oh great, I'm going to retire. So I don't know. I think
but you wouldn't just keep it in the bank. You'd invest it, wouldn't you?
I don't know. Would you, Dan?
Yeah.
What would a successful person do, Dan?
I don't really know where I'd invest it, but you would invest it. I'd get advice from someone that knows what they're talking about.
International keynote speaker Dan Knowlton doesn't have £1 million in the bank.
Well, I can't reveal that on air, can I, Lloyd?
I'll answer that. Definitely not. So I've got an interesting one that I was thinking about earlier.
Go on.
And this is a bit to do with what we're saying about me and my wife. My wife's worried I'm going to be a hippie and want to live in a mud hut and not have any possessions, because my idea of success is just, be happy and make other people happy, which is quite weird for a business owner.
Yeah.
But if your version of what you think success is different to your loved ones, so maybe your partner or your parents or your close friends, how do you deal with that?
It's a good question. I'd say I'm living that. I think my idea of success is probably very different to my fiancée Christelle's. But I think we both support each other. We both kind of get what, like, for example, a big part of my success is, or wanting to be successful, is around business and working a lot of hours and working hard in the business. And she gets that and understands that and supports that by looking after our son in the day. And, and I know that she wants to be, have as relaxed a life as possible. And, I try and support her.
Are you saying she's lazy? If you're listening, Dan's fiance.
I love you, Christelle. Please, I'll make you dinner. No, what about you? How do you manage that?
Yeah, I think when you have people around you that you love, you do make compromises with each other, because I think it's very rare that people you love have exactly the same ambitions and ideas of success. We have different ideas of success, and we spend almost every day together and grow a business together. So we make compromises for each other in what we want to do. And I think that is it. Like I said, Sarah worries that I want to sell everything and live in a mud hut, but I'm not going to do that, because I know that she wouldn't want to live in a mud hut yet. Because I honestly, I think I could live in a camper van and be very happy.
Oh my God, it's actually happening.
So I'm just planting the seed, Sarah. Imagine the income that we have at the moment, but we don't pay that big mortgage. We'd be so happy. But no, so I know, although I might be happy with that, and that would be fine for me. I think for Sarah, that wouldn't be, I'm living a successful life. That would be, I'm making major compromise. She'd live in a camper van if we couldn't afford to live in a house. Yeah. And that would be a negative thing. Oh my God, we've got to do this.
Yeah. Whereas you think of it as a positive thing.
But so it's compromises, isn't it?
If anyone's selling any camper vans out there, and
my wife would really love to live in one with me. Yeah. So I think it's about compromise. If your loved ones see success as something different to you, you adapt to make both of you happy, or all of you happy,
and we all live happily ever after.
I mean, I think our dad's really supported this business journey, because he started his own business and saw how I suppose he feels he's been successful and it's made him happy, whereas our mum probably, I mean, she's very risk averse. Her idea of success would be to get in the most stable job you could imagine. And even if you're potentially less happy. And do that. So
they're complete opposites, aren't they?
So we've compromised by saying, Mum, you're wrong. No. So that's how I deal with it, I think.
Clever.
So moving on from, obviously we've clearly defined success there.
Yep.
Very obvious that
success
by the way, listeners and viewers, if you're on social media, you're viewing clips, or if you're on YouTube viewing this, please comment what you think success is. I'd be interested to actually hear what other people, because we've gone down. I mean, we've kind of argued with ourselves about this. I don't think we've even decided, but it'd be interested to hear what other people.
And also,
think.
The comments help our content perform better.
So we're hacking
really
success.
What Lloyd's trying to do is
we do not give a shit what you think, but if you comment below. We'll hack
we
the
literally
algorithm.
won't read it. We literally won't read your comment or give a shit.
And then people will perceive us to be successful because we'll get lots of views on this video, lots of listens on the podcast, and it all just helps us be really successful.
We don't give a shit about you.
By the way, we do. I actually do want to hear.
We do.
God, we're confusing. Okay, moving on to our next segment, which is... we haven't got a jingle for this, so I'll just make one up. Lloyd's an anchor.
Oh, yes. I've been waiting for this.
So this is a part where Dan and I take it in turns to explain why we think the other one's an anchor, and vent a bit. We spend so much time together. We need to get this frustration out. So, Dan.
And it's taken me... There's so many things to choose from. It's difficult because I'm only allowed to share one. So, but no, something that happened which... none of us have spoken about again. Similar to last week, something happened that no one spoke about, but we all just observed.
Okay.
And the team that are recording and watching this would have experienced it as well, but we haven't spoken about it.
Right.
So last week, when we released episode 1 of the Business Anchors podcast, we needed to create if you know what a bit.ly link is, it's a link shortener. So we needed to create a short link using bit.ly for the Apple podcast version and the Spotify version. So I went on to bit.ly and I tried to create one of the links called, I can't remember what it was, but it didn't work for some reason. I said, that didn't work.
Well done for trying.
I'll change it to this. So I said, right. And all of the other team members heard what I said and knew what I said. I said, right,
sorry, Dan, we do need to confirm that at some point, just, allegedly.
Whose turn is it, Lloyd?
Sorry, yeah.
Thank you.
Continue.
So So I said to the team, right, the bit.ly link for Apple Podcast is bit.ly/whatever it was. The one for Spotify is this. Everyone else, in all their tasks they did that they need to write that link, got it correct. Great, brilliant. So then Lloyd for once posted something on his social media, because he never does because he's lazy, and he posted the video. He's getting all excited about it, and he was kind of saying, "Oh, we haven't had much traffic from this. Isn't really going." And then I was, "Oh, that's strange." And then I think a couple of hours later, he said to me, "Oh, what's that bit.ly link again?" And I said what I originally said, and he went, "What? And he was like, "Oh, you gave me the wrong link.
Great
and
impression
then
of me.
Repeated to just shout and swear at the computer, and everyone else in the office.
Not at the computer, is it you?
Well, you were looking at the computer. Continued, and he just made the whole office feel very awkward and silent, and no one spoke for about an hour because Lloyd was swearing at the computer because of his own mistake, and he likes to get things wrong and then blame other people quite a lot. So, Lloyd, you got any response to that?
So my first thoughts on this is to defend myself, but because I can see the rest of the team laughing and I think agreeing with what you're saying, it makes
Give us a nod if you're...
It makes me...
Yeah, both nodding. Yep, there we go. Thank you.
Right, we need to talk about this later, guys.
Yeah.
In my defence,
Mm-hmm.
communication is a two-way street.
Oh, here we go.
So, if you said the link was a certain thing and I heard that, surely both of us are at fault, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, we don't know where. Could have been your fault. Could have been my fault. There was a gap in that communication.
Yeah.
We got it wrong.
Lloyd doesn't like accepting responsibility for the mistakes he's made. So.
I do, however, think I owe you an apology because just swearing.
So you remember you
under
actually
my
shouting
breath.
swear words?
I think it was a lot of fuck's sake.
Yeah.
While staring at my computer screen, muttering under my breath.
Yes.
Yeah. So I do think that's not the way I should have dealt with that.
Yeah. So there you go.
So just to confirm for everyone, I am an anchor.
Thank you.
Is that right, Dan?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with the world, Dan. And I think it's been really nice that you've allowed the team to agree with you in a situation where they feel comfortable, because I can't really say anything to them.
No.
Because we're recording a podcast.
Exactly.
So I think they'll be grateful as well.
Good.
Yeah.
There
nice.
you go. Lloyd's an anchor.
Okay. Thank you for that intervention, guys. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. We haven't had the radio DJ voice for a while, so I'll bring it out now. That went really... For some reason, my radio voice went down really well last time, didn't it?
Yeah.
We
got quite a few comments about that, actually.
Yeah. Maybe I should be a radio...
Oh, no.
Obviously, shouldn't be a radio DJ if I can't say radio.
Yeah, you're good at that, though.
Oh, thanks, mate. Oh, you're good at stuff,
so
too.
Good at that.
Oh, we're so good at... We're so successful. So, next point. Success.
Mm-hmm.
So, we talked about financial success. And... because I think most people, when they think of success, that's really the number one place they go. Success, you got this much money because you've done really good stuff. So if you had, let's put a figure on this, we've been successful, we've worked really hard, we've got 10 million in the bank.
Yep.
What do you do? What do you do with that?
Ooh. My first thought is to think about doing something nice for mum and dad.
Is that your first thought, or is that the thought you want to put out to the world?
Oh no! After I've bought the Range Rover, the Ferrari, but I do. That is definitely it. I've become more caring over time.
Yeah, I agree.
And I want the listeners to think I'm a nice person.
Yeah, we both do. I mean, I think surely we both just give the whole thing to charity.
No, I definitely wouldn't.
And if you want to leave a review for this podcast,
no, I think it would be. It's the classic. You'd want to split. Or I would want to split it between family, and then spend the rest on good stuff.
So
travel the world.
So my next question, because I think this is really interesting and really hard to answer. By the way, for the listeners, I've finished my Monster Energy Ultra can. And I'm buzzing off
your tits.
I feel like it's currently like 11 in the morning or something.
You actually finished it.
Oh no, it's nearly 1 p.m.
I'm halfway
Time's
through.
flying by so quick. I just want to go out and get drunk now. Sorry. So yeah, I'm interested.
Your
I
hand-
can't concentrate.
Your hand
Great
is
choice
actually
of drink.
shaking, Lloyd. I'm genuinely worried about.
So the question I can't focus on because my brain's doing crazy things. But you said that you want to give money to family.
Yeah.
And then you obviously have some for yourself in your life.
Yeah.
So say it's 10 million.
Yeah.
This could be any number. But how do you decide how much you're giving to family?
Lloyd, that's
and
such a
stuff?
difficult question. What's
Well, that surely that's
I don't
interesting.
know. I really don't know.
So you got.
Well,
10...
would you give your nan less?
I really like our nan. What a horrible thing to say,
No,
Dan.
but I mean, would you give older
I
people?
like all our grandparents.
Would you give older people less because it's likely they're not going to be around as long?
Bloody hell! You're taking this to a dark place, aren't you?
No, but I don't know. How do you go on? How do you do then? I want specific amounts for each family member, and I want you to say their name.
Right, you haven't answered the question. You're just flipping it to me.
Go on then.
No, the reason I ask it because I think it's really hard. Like, so say we've got 10 million. In my mind, you're splitting between what you're going to give to people that you love, what you're going to keep for yourself and your kind of immediate family, wives, husbands, children, that kind of thing, and then what you might give to charity and those kind of things. But I like to think. Right, if I put numbers on these three categories, you need to as well.
Go on then.
Okay, so I think, in reality, I would keep 3 million of the 10 million for myself and my immediate family. I would give away. See, I'd like to think.
Come on. Answer.
Right, I'd give away 4 million to friends and family, and then 3 million I'd either give away to charities or I'd start up charities and try and do the right thing. But at the same time, we're talking about compromises of you and your partners or families might have different things of success. I think Sarah would be much more inclined to give more to our family and less to charities. So then I'd have to make those compromises, and that might be.
And I also think you've got to be careful because just giving someone shitloads of money could actually fuck their life up. I always think this to myself, if you just chucked someone 5 million, would it actually make their life better, or would they kind of go crazy and just turn into a twat?
Because I'm thinking, right, so bear with me here.
Go on then.
On a happiness scale of 0 to 100,
Yeah.
what figure would you give yourself
Right now, this moment?
Yeah.
80.
80. So that's I think
What are you then?
that's brilliant. I'd say
81.
I'm 87.5.
Okay.
Very precise.
Yeah.
So I think we're very lucky. We're, in comparison to a lot of people in the world, we're really happy. So do you think the richest people in the world, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, are higher than my 87.5 or higher than your 80?
Potentially, that's a good question. But I also think there's lots of people that are that level of wealth that are much lower.
No, that's the point I'm making. I think you were saying about chucking someone 5 million. Will they be happier? Will it actually? I think a lot of the time, no.
I think you just have more options. That's what I like. Like what I'd find would extend my happiness is being able to experience the best things in the world, like the best experiences, see the best places, help people, because that feels good as well. And doing all these. Yeah,
I do think something that you have to consider in these kind of conversations as well is when people are so you might get from what we're saying, money doesn't buy you happiness, and that is the point I'm making. However, if you're in the point where you're in the state where you can't afford to pay your bills, you're struggling to get by. If you're in that state, then I definitely think more money can buy you happiness. Yeah. Because the stress, if you're constantly living in this hamster wheel of trying, and you're thinking, if I don't pay this debt, if I don't, then 100% to that point, but then it's money can buy you happiness.
It's the whole but beyond 80 to 100.
Once you're at a point, so I'm not saying we've got loads of money, but once you're at a point where you don't need to worry about and really stress about money, and you're happy. But does millions and millions make you more happy? No,
I agree. And I also think it's down to your own individual choices to put that pressure on yourself. So if you're living beyond your means and you're getting that extra nice new car, and each month your money's going back down to zero, and you haven't got that buffer because you've got that extra nice car, is that extra happiness? I've even thought about this myself, of getting like a really nice car, and then my savings would go down, but I'd have a really nice car. And then I thought, actually, the stress, like having the freedom now to have the extra buffer to be able to just say yes to a lot of things, rather than having a nice car and paying off shitloads of money each month. I think I'm happier being, which is weird for me because I've always thought I'd be the other. I'm quite materialistic, and I thought I'd be.
You've changed over the last few years. I think you would definitely prefer to be the other end of the scale you're talking about previously. Yeah. But that's, imagine how happy you'd be in a mud hut with no outgoings, Dan.
Sarah, you listening?
Imagine how happy we'd be, Sarah. We just lived in a caravan. But then, so we're saying, this extra money probably won't buy you happiness. So why are we saying if we had 10 million in the bank? Well, actually, I've just realised you didn't answer. But why am I saying I'd keep 3 million? Why the hell do you need 3 million in the bank?
No, but I still think because we're not at the level of success where we've got enough money to experience the things we want to experience. Like, don't you want to see the rest of the world? Don't you want to climb the highest mountains, or like go and experience these things?
So yes, I do. There's lots of things I want to do. So I agree with you on that. But Mark Zuckerberg can do any of that stuff. And we're saying that potentially he might not be as happy as us. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know.
You're confusing me. I feel sorry for the listeners.
Yeah.
But no, I think, you're right. But I certainly think that I would like to experience more things in my life. I'm nowhere and grow and be more successful. If you just think you've peaked, like I genuinely feel slightly bad for people like Mark Zuckerberg who have reached such a height. Imagine how kind of demotivating it is when you've got nothing to aim towards because you've achieved everything in the world. Well, not everything in the world, but in your mind, you've like achieved this the thing. You get there, and it's like, what do you do the rest of your life because you've achieved?
They say this with like sports stars and
Yeah,
people
you
in
get
film and stuff. When you're like at the top of your
When
game,
you're the fastest man in the world.
Say you're Usain
Usain
Bolt,
Bolt,
and you go out and
Yeah.
you run really fast for a bit,
Yeah.
and everyone's cheering and saying they love you, and then at some point you retire or you start to slow down and you never hit that peak again. I think that can be.
I think you've got to find things in your life that have meaning and have purpose, and that, I know it sounds all deep now, but I think when you get past that level, you need to, and even before that level, you need to find things where you actually feel like you've got a purpose in life. There's that whole thing of like, people feel happier when they feel like they've got a purpose and a job and they're doing something, rather than just plodding along doing stuff for the sake of it.
And I have to say, I know you'll probably take the mick out of me because I'm doing the thing.
Don't do your happiness thing again.
No. I'm
love and peace.
Because I'm going to talk about the volunteering I do with the homeless, and I'm laughing because you. Do you want
me to take a picture and a video?
Let's tell everyone about it to make you. But that genuinely, because I've only been doing that a couple of years, but genuinely that time once a week. Because I think before I was doing it, I was thinking, well, I'm just going to have to give up 4 hours a week of my time on a Sunday evening. Surely that would be a bit rubbish. But genuinely, that part of my week makes me, I know now, makes me really happy.
Right. So you're not actually doing it to help other people. You're doing it to make yourself feel good.
Oh, this is a whole other podcast.
So
then.
It's a selfish, selfless act. Is that right?
Yeah, it's definitely selfish. Like I said, it makes me happy. But yeah, knowing things like that have such a big impact on my happiness now, rather than.
But it's so good I think it's so good that you're self-aware of that. I think you're in such a good place if you're self-aware of what actually makes you happy. Because imagine if you knew exactly what makes you happy and you could just do it and then you're happy. Yeah. I think I think most people, and even I don't think I'm near where you are with that, of knowing the specific things that I'm doing to.
Also, me in 10 years, I'll probably have a completely different idea because I've worked out more stuff that makes me happy. Doesn't have, if I live in a mud hut.
Oh my God.
No, I won't go back to that. Okay, cool. So Dan still hasn't answered what he's doing with his 10 million.
So for 10 million, I'd keep 5, 4 to family, 1 million to charity. There you go.
Oh, what a 5 million for yourself. Answer. Selfish. No, yeah. So just last question on this. You got 100 million.
Oh.
So no, but with 10 million you're keeping 5. You got 100 million. Do you still keep 5 and give away the rest?
No, you keep more than that, definitely. Same ratios.
Oh really?
Yeah, so
about
ratios.
100 million, you'd keep 50 million.
Yeah.
You'd want. Interesting.
But you don't know what I'd do with that 50 million. I could be building houses in Africa.
You could be.
Yep.
You're such a good person.
Thank you. Moving on.
So we've got something exciting now. Last episode, the first episode of the Business Anchors podcast, we said we were giving away £100 Amazon gift card to someone who listened and reviewed our podcast. And I used a random name generator.
Did you actually?
Yesterday. I actually videoed it because I thought someone's going to comment saying, "Oh, they've just picked a winner."
Yeah.
And I genuinely haven't. So if you want to see the video, get in touch. I'll send it to you. And the winner is someone called. I mean, we should have thought of a better way to do this, but their nickname on Apple is the Light Bulb Guru.
Oh, okay.
So well done, the Light Bulb Guru.
Whoever you are.
I think I might know who it is.
Right.
Well, we know a certain middle-aged male who sells light bulbs.
And he probably is the kind of guy to call himself
a guru.
the
Yeah.
light bulb
So
guru.
if you're listening, Richard, it might not be you.
Yeah.
Anyway, let us know if it is you, Richard. Let us know, and we'll.
And also,
know
Lloyd,
if it's someone else.
you still need to send everyone a video who reviewed.
No, Dan. By the time people are listening and watching this, I have sent them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm going to do the same this week. If you review the podcast, I'm going to send you a personalised video. I don't know what it's going to be like yet, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to hunt you down, and it's going to be bloody marvellous. But anyway, well done, the Light Bulb Guru.
Well done.
So finally, to finish off this podcast, all about success. So now we've revealed exactly how you can be successful. And
The 10 steps,
the perfect plan. Just 10x everything. 10x the amount of money you have and wives you have. And the final question, are you successful, Dan? Are we successful?
That's so difficult because it's what's the metric. If you're looking at in the entire world, I think we're successful because we've got a roof over our head and all that kind of stuff. But I think for me, I'm definitely not successful. Oh, sorry, we are. I don't think we are me as an individual and us as a business. I don't think we're successful because I'd consider successful doing much better things than what we're doing now, which is the journey we're on to success. So I'd say we're not successful, but we're on the right journey to be successful.
Yeah, I like that. Because I was thinking that I'm not the thing. So I said my hippie answer of making the most people the happiest they can be and all that kind of thing. Obviously, I think there's so much more I could do, and there's lots of selfish things I do, and spending my money on myself selfishly and things.
Like going to the pub tonight with your mates, which you are doing.
Yeah, stuff like that. But then actually, that whole journey, I think you're right. I'm taking the right steps to get there. So at some point, I'll be more successful.
Yeah. And what are you going to do when you get there, Lloyd? If you ever get there,
I'm just going to shout, "I'm successful!"
That's a really good. Well, no, you should make a course. The 5 steps to how Lloyd became successful, and then show everyone else.
Yeah, an ebook.
And sell it for like 10 grand.
Yeah.
And then just 10x the course.
20x your success.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Hack success.
There we go.
So I'd like to apologise to listeners that for a lot of this podcast, we've sounded like absolute douchebags, but it's impossible to talk about making people happy without doing so. So sorry about that, guys. But
it's been a good conversation, though, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It's interesting, like, if you're listening to this, to hear what...
It's been a bit deeper than the last one, hasn't it? Less funny stories, more... it's been more deep.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, let us know if you liked it deeper this week.
Oh, my God. There's something we need to clip up, Lloyd.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Don't use that soundbite.
Just repeat that again, Lloyd.
I don't want to. I mean, obviously, we're all aware that international keynote speaker Dan Nelson is extremely successful. And on that note, please, and really, we would genuinely like you to rate and review
we should
our podcast.
Say it at the same time in a cringy way. Rate and subscribe.
Well, the hard thing about saying things at the same time is you have to know what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
So
what were you saying?
Rate and review.
Rate and review. Okay.
So everybody,
rate and review
our podcast on Apple and on Spotify. Follow us, and don't forget, tell your friends how they can enjoy the Business Anchors podcast. Tell them how they can find it, what's good about it, why they should listen to it, and all that good stuff. Do you think that's a good
that
end
was
point
a good
now?
outro.
Yeah.
And next week, or no, when is it then we're going to release another one? 2 weeks?
2 weeks' time, but we might do it weekly because to be successful,
We need to hack the algorithm.
we need to have a weekly podcast.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for listening, guys. We really appreciate all your lovely comments and reviews last week, and we'd love you to do that again. Please do it more to make us feel successful.
Bye.
Bye.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long.